Tonight on Cronkite News, a WNBA veteran is not done with basketball just yet. What will be on her mind going into the next season?
Plus, we're days away from Arizona State kicking off another home matchup, how they plan to correct mistakes from last week's loss.
And it may be time for you to roll up your sleeve for another COVID-19 booster, as the FDA gave the green light to rev up protection this fall. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Jeff Hinkle.
And I'm Matt Venezia. Thank you for joining us.
The WNBA playoffs start Wednesday, and while the Phoenix Mercury might not be seeing the postseason, they will see a familiar face suited up next season.
That's right. Many are wondering what Diana Taurasi's status will be for next year, and she's made it clear that she's not done yet. It's been a season to remember for the W's all-time leading scorer. Taurasi surpassed 10,000 points on August 3rd at home, but more than 3 weeks later, she injured her toe, missing the next 14 games. The veteran will have a lot to think about going into her 20th season.
I got another year in my contract, and I'm definitely going to fulfill that. You know, I'm not a happy person right now. I think, you know, you can sugarcoat it any way you want. You know, we were missing, you know, a quarter of a salary for 2 straight seasons, and those things are kind of hard to overcome as, you know, as a team, injuries, this, coaching change. But at the end of the day, we didn't come with enough to make a push, and that will stay with me until, you know, tip off next year.
Yeah, Matt, and while Mercury fans are happy to hear DT is returning, and despite the team's poor record this year, the X Factor was still a big factor for the Mercury home games all season. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Bonnell takes a closer look at the impressive attendance figures from the Footprint Center.
The fans that are loyal to us, always there for us, no matter what, ups, downs, we really appreciate those fans, and that's who we want, you know, in these seats.
13,206 fans were in attendance for the Phoenix Mercury's 2023 home finale. Despite the losing record, despite the injuries, and despite there being no chance of playing in the postseason, Mercury fans, known as the X Factor, continued supporting this team until the very end.
I think that the Phoenix community and the X Factor support their team, whether they're a winning team or when they're having a down season. It doesn't matter. We're going to support our team.
In fact, the X Factor set a new standard in 2023. The Mercury has had only 4 games reach over $200,000 in sales from 2012 to 2022. But they reached that mark 5 times this season alone, most recently on Fan Appreciation Night.
The league is growing, the league is growing. They're coming out showing their support for women's basketball in general. It's becoming a big thing here in Phoenix, so it's a great thing to see. It's a great turnout, despite us having a tough season, so this is the type of support we want to see night in, night out.
Despite missing out on the postseason for the first time since 2012, Phoenix fans are still showing up and showing out. The Mercury ranks 2nd in the WNBA in average attendance, behind only the defending champion Las Vegas Aces.
You know, Phoenix is a basketball city, and they're bought into the Phoenix Mercury, and they are bought into our players. I think that the city appreciates, you know, our community work that we do. They appreciate how hard we go out there and play each and every single night, and they appreciate that we appreciate them.
With an average of 9,197 fans per game in 2023, the Mercury have now finished top 3 in average attendance for 9 consecutive seasons. In Phoenix, Ryan Bonnell, Cronkite News.
Keeping things with the Mercury, it was an emotional season for Mercury star Brittney Griner, who returned to the court for the first time since her 10-month ordeal in a Russian prison. Griner has been a vocal advocate for other Americans who are currently wrongfully detained overseas. Cronkite News reporter Trey Matthews joins us now with more on how Griner is staying involved with others who are trying to get home.
Yeah, Matt, even though Griner has been back home for quite some time and just wrapped up her comeback season playing for the Phoenix Mercury, her long and tedious journey is still fresh in her mind. Yesterday, in the middle of exit interviews for the team, Griner was asked about some reports that the Biden administration is looking to bring back 5 U.S. prisoners from Iran via an exchange similar to Griner's situation a few months back. Griner was brought to tears and rejoiced knowing that more people would be reunited with their friends and loved ones.
I'm really happy, and I can't wait for it to be official and for them to be home and with their family. And I know how much they are waiting for them to be home. So, yeah, I know what it feels like coming home like that. I know what it's going to feel like for their family. So I'm just, prayers up, fingers crossed, and everything, that everything goes right, goes smooth, and they're back stateside soon.
It was a heartwarming moment for sure, as Brittany is still wanting to advocate for others. Expect her to speak out more as she enters the offseason now. In the newsroom, Trey Matthews, Cronkite News.
ASU football is dealing with injuries from that Oklahoma State game on Saturday as the offensive line lost a key player.
And this time, Jeff, it was Emmett Boley who went out with a season-ending broken leg, leaving the Sun Devils without two of their starting offensive tackles to help protect freshman quarterback Jaden Rashada.
Cronkite News reporter Aaron Gonzalez joins us now from Mountain America Stadium as the Sun Devils start to regroup on the offensive side of the ball.
Hey, yes, that's right, guys. Coach Kenny Dillingham could only describe his offensive line as being decimated with injuries. Clearly showed in this past weekend's matchup against Oklahoma State. The Sun Devils were limited to scoring 0 second-half points, and quarterback Jaden Rashada was constantly under pressure. However, the team was back at practice today, once again hitting that drawing board. Despite a 1-1 start, with ASU and with injuries starting to pile up just 2 games into the 2023 season, the Sun Devils can't seem to catch a break. But however, as the old saying goes, it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. However, there was a bit of good news in today's practice from offensive coordinator Bo Baldwin. He said he was impressed with the team's right mindset approach and is seeing leaders emerge through this early season adversity.
Being in the situation we are, coming off a loss, having a lot of injuries, they'll start to organically surface, and you'll find out who those leaders are. And it's not all vocal. It's how they operate. It's how they day-to-day. It's how they practice.
ASU hosts a 2-0 Fresno State team coming in this weekend. The Bulldogs are currently 3-point favorites. It is early in the week, though, but ASU is looking to make the necessary adjustments to be ready for this weekend's matchup in order to secure their second win in this young season. In Tempe, Aaron Gonzalez, Cronkite News.
From the NCAA to the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals are looking to earn their first win of the season Sunday against the New York Giants. And in order to do so, head coach Jonathan Gannon says it's all going to come down to fixing the small offensive mistakes.
Penalties go in waves, as I always say, you know what I mean? But the things that we can control, that playing within the rules, it's our job as coaches to educate them and make sure that we're practicing the right way and they know exactly what non-negotiables are that are going to get called.
Coming up next, an Arizona State golfer is making her final round in collegiate athletics. How her last year as a Sun Devil is shaping her to play at the next level.
And triple-digit temperatures might be slowing down. We'll have more on weather when we come back.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Ain't no time for imitation, ain't no time for playing. I'm just gonna do me.
Know what I'm saying?
Try to steer the trouble.
Where's the fun in that? You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
And that's the way it is. Monday, September.
Newscasting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
The Arizona Diamondbacks have won 4 of their first 5 games to start their road trip, and the Snakes' success couldn't come at a better time as they're in the thick of a playoff race. Arizona picked up a win against the Mets last night as Tommy Pham hit a game-tying home run in the 8th inning in his return to New York. The D-backs went on to win the game 4-3 and have managed to keep their feet firmly in the 3rd and final wildcard spot for now.
Speaking of swings, the teeing off of ASU women's golf season also marks the last stand for golfer Ashley Menne. Cronkite News reporter Jacob Luthi got to visit the Sun Devils practice facility to see how Menne is balancing the leadership role on her team while looking forward to her future career.
If you told Ashley Menne as a freshman that she would be the eventual leader of her team, she probably would have thought you were joking.
I remember the first time when my coach said, she said to me after a round, I think it was after national championship, and she's like, next year you're going to be the leader. And I'm like, what? That's scary.
Years after that conversation and into her last season as a Sun Devil, Menne has established herself as one of the strongest golfers at ASU and was ranked number 23 in the country by Golf Week last year. On top of being a 3-time Arizona Women's Amateur Champion, a 2-time WGCA Academic All-American Scholar, Menne has the chance to become just the 4th person in program's history to become a 4-time All-American. But despite all these individual accolades, it's her leadership as a teammate and as a person that most impacts this team.
Ashley is definitely one of our better players, if not the best player on the team right now. So I think that aspect of having such a strong player on the team is huge, but also off the course, I would say she's a really good leader.
It is behind me at the Thunderbirds Golf Complex where Ashley Menne has grown both as a person and a leader on this golf team. And now entering into her last season as an ASU Sun Devil, she's excited for the future and the hopes of going professional.
So as of now, right after I graduate from this year, I'm planning on turning pro. It's always been in the back of my mind, and this is my last year. I just kind of want to have fun, play well for the team, compete, and enjoy every last bit of college golf I can.
And despite the thoughts of the future, as well as being invited to compete in premier events such as the Augusta National Women's Amateur, Menne has first and foremost been a rock for this team and a player committed to the program's success.
Ashley's been a great Sun Devil, and she's really leaned into that. And, in the beginning, as a freshman, you don't really know what that means. And she now understands it. When you carry the golf bag, you represent a lot of people and not just yourself. And she's really, I think she takes a lot of pride in that. I think it's really important to her. And I think she's embraced that and is really an integral part of this team. It will be impossible to replace her.
In Phoenix, Jacob Luthi, Cronkite News.
After a record-breaking summer, Arizona might start to see more double-digit temperatures this week.
Jeff, I hope you're right. Sienna Monet has some upcoming lower temps for us and maybe a little bit of rain. Sienna?
Let's take a look at our Tuesday evening forecast. At about 8 p.m., it's going to be 89 degrees. Those temperatures are going to start to cool down with 88 degrees at 9 p.m. and then 86 degrees at 10 p.m. Looking at our weather for our future forecast, we're going to see the storm start to move through the western part of the state. We're going to get some thunderstorms and showers in the southeastern part of Arizona in Tucson and Sierra Vista. Because of this storm, we're experiencing these lower temperatures here with 79 degrees in Phoenix, 61 degrees in Sedona, and 44 degrees at the Grand Canyon. For those high temperatures on this Wednesday, we're going to see 100 degrees here in Phoenix, 79 degrees in Sedona, and 73 degrees in the Grand Canyon. So we still haven't escaped those triple-digit numbers just yet. If we take a look at our 8-day forecast, we're going to see 103 degrees on Friday, and then going into the weekend, it's going to be about 105 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to start to cool off with 103 on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, we're going to be in those double-digit numbers with 99 degrees on Tuesday and then 97 degrees on Wednesday. These numbers are right about average for during this time of year. Sienna Monet from the Cronkite Weather Center, back to you.
Thank you for the weather update, Sienna. Coming up next, this national monument might be in trouble.
What these Arizona politicians are doing to stop it.
And that's the way it is. Monday, September.
Newscasting has changed a lot since the time of Walter Cronkite. That's why here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, you can learn the studio production skills of today in real time. Whether you want to work audio, direct, technical direct, design graphics, or you can even run the floor. It's all part of the Television Production and Graphics Lab here at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're going on in 3, 2...
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Pales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden.
Good evening, I'm Kenji Ito, and that was just House Speaker Kevin McCarthy earlier today formally announcing a House committee impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. The GOP has been investigating President Biden's knowledge and involvement in his son Hunter's business endeavors overseas. Now, McCarthy claims House Republicans have uncovered, quote, serious and credible allegations into the president's conduct. A White House spokesperson called the inquiry extreme politics at its worst. And House Democrats are saying there is no evidence that President Biden has done anything wrong.
I have seen no such evidence. I've looked at depositions, as I said, in a classified setting. I've looked at hearing transcripts. I've interrogated witnesses, and there has been not a scintilla of evidence.
On top of the possible impeachment, President Biden is also facing pushback from Arizona politicians. State Senate Republicans announced plans to sue his administration over a new monument near the Grand Canyon. They're calling it a land grab. The suit is being filed over what's called the ancestral footprints of the Grand Canyon National Monument, established last month by President Biden. A hearing in July established indigenous support for the monument. A spokesperson for State Senate Republicans called the monument nothing more than a publicity stunt. The Republican caucus of State Senate said a fact-finding phase is currently underway, and they're planning to file the suit by the end of early 2023 or early 2024. And the U.S. government's lawsuit against Google owner Alphabet began today. The government is accusing Google of spending billions to spend the dominant search engine. The government alleges Google pays companies like Apple and Samsung, as well as internet browsers like Mozilla, to be the default search engine. It's the biggest antitrust lawsuit in decades, and if the government finds Alphabet in violation, it could be forced to change how it distributes the search engine on different platforms. The trial is expected to last 10 weeks. The Food and Drug Administration gave a thumbs up to an updated COVID-19 vaccine for this fall, and a CDC panel is deciding today who should get the vaccine. But the question is, who will pay for it? Cronkite News reporter Alexandria Cullen brings us the answer from our Washington bureau.
The answer, according to health experts, almost everyone will be covered.
Private insurance, all ACIP recommended vaccines are required to be available at no cost to the recipient, the consumer, the patient, right? Also for Medicare, the same applies. And in October 1 in Medicaid, that it applies that the COVID vaccine is covered at no cost.
Dan Antonio was speaking at a webinar on coverage for the new vaccine. While most Americans will be covered, 1 in 10 will not. That's where the CDC's Bridge Access program comes in.
Bridge Access program was essentially designed to provide access to vaccines for people who didn't have eligibility under other mechanisms, whether they didn't have Medicare coverage, Medicaid, private insurance, and they fell below other socioeconomic lines that prevented access to vaccines.
The CDC's Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices is meeting today to determine who is eligible for the vaccine, but health officials are urging anyone who can get vaccinated to do so.
This fall, we're going to be encouraging people to get certainly their flu shot. And once we're told by the CDC they recommend to get the COVID shot, we'll be encouraging that as well.
While the government is not as heavily involved in vaccine distribution as it was at the height of the pandemic, some experts say that may be a good thing. It might encourage people who would have otherwise been hesitant.
I'm glad that it's being treated like a normal vaccine now, and maybe when it's treated like every other vaccine, some of the people who were skeptical about it might finally decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it just like my flu shot. We'll see.
No official release date has been set, but health officials believe that it will be available later this month. In Washington, Alexandria Cullen, Cronkite News.
A dispute between two of Arizona's top officials could result in the state losing millions of federal dollars for Arizona schools. More than $22 million of COVID relief funding from the U.S. government sits unused, and some of that money needs to be spent by the end of this month. The Arizona Department of Education wrote letters claiming Governor Katie Hobbs removed the department's authority to distribute funds. Hobbs said that the U.S. Department of Education made that call due to the department not providing details about awarded grants. She also claims to have sent Superintendent Tom Horn a new spending agreement which he refuses to sign. Horn was asked about the dispute with Governor Hobbs yesterday on Arizona Horizon on PBS.
In my letter, I say to her, let's talk together and work these things out. There was absolutely no reason for her to make a personal attack on me over a technical thing that could be easily solved. I can work with a Democrat governor, but the Democrat governor has to be willing to work with me.
The funds are assigned for non-public schools, specifically those that have at least 20% of their students from low-income families and that have been most impacted by COVID-19. Both parties disagree how much money is at risk by this month's deadline. And that's it for our news across the nation. In the newsroom, I'm Kenji Ito, Cronkite News. Back to Matt and Jeff at the desk.
Thank you, Kenji, for that news update. Coming up next, this famous house just got an upgrade and a new owner.
Yeah, Matt, we'll have what the house sold for and what changed when we come back.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
This is CN to Go. I'm Emily Olson with your Wednesday news briefing.
Do you want to create innovative content for Cronkite News? Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? Then CN to Go is for you. Cronkite News to Go is a podcast where students cover the latest headlines. Students become audio producers and hosts and will learn how to write, record, and edit stories. You can listen to the latest episodes on these platforms.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
and develop your skills with the latest technology.
This famous home is reportedly the second most photographed home in the U.S., behind only the White House, according to its Zillow listing, and it just sold.
Yeah, the house from the Brady Bunch has been rebuilt and designed to replicate the sitcom set. According to the Zillow listing, it sold for $3.2 million, nearly 42% below asking price. HGTV bought the 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house in 2018 to remodel it and make the inside as iconic as the outside.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thank you for joining us.